Hello everybody, welcome to the channel. My name is JGod. In today's video, I'm going to be focusing on the best tips for better accuracy in Black Ops 4. A lot of the tips are going to involve finding the perfect settings and also making sure that you're using the mechanics that are already built into the game. So the 5 tips we'll be talking about today are adjusting for recoil, maximizing your aim assist so you get that sticky aim, finding the right sensitivity, which a lot of people tend to have questions with, centering, which I don't see most people do. Do a lot of gameplay breakdowns, so I've seen a lot of players play. Centering is a big issue for a lot of players. And another huge component is consciously practicing. And what I mean by that is if you have a deficiency in a certain area, be honest with yourself. If you're bad at centering, consciously focus on centering for a long period of time. Focus on recoil management with burst firing and other types of mechanics so that you can actually improve in these areas. I'm gonna give you a few tips along that side with practicing so you can maximize all the other tips in the video. If you enjoy any part of the video, you can do me a huge favor and hit that like button so we can get this video over 500 likes. Then if you're brand new to the channel, I typically cover Call of Duty news, in-game updates, best class setup, subscriber breakdowns, as well as other tip and trick videos like this one today that allow players to improve at Call of Duty. If any of that sounds interesting or the type of content you typically watch, remember to hit that subscribe button and turn notifications on by ringing that bell. When it comes to adjusting for recoil, the thing you got to know about this version of Call of Duty is they have something called Predictive Recoil. And what that means is pretty much every time you just hold the trigger down and you don't adjust for recoil, your gun's going to go through a certain pattern. Every weapon has its own pattern. Some is all kinds of wonky and crazy. Some is very simple, straightforward. But you can see kind of how the pattern's very similar. Obviously, my angle was a little bit different, so it looked a little bit different. You can see pretty much the pattern ends up repeating itself. But what that ends up meaning is that when you get more comfortable with the weapon, you can kind of predict the way the recoil is going to move. And then you can release the trigger maybe after 10 bullets, release it really quick, and then pull it back down. So you get that consistent initial recoil without it doing all that weird roundabout recoil. So when you work with different weapons, you're definitely going to want to find out this pattern, at least to some extent, so you know how long you need to pull the trigger and essentially burst fire your weapon so you can counter that recoil. The other part of adjusting for that recoil is literally adjusting for that recoil by actually moving your right analog stick to adjust for it. You can see I actually improved a little bit, and that was through a combination of using both those tactics I'm talking about, pulling down on the right analog and then also burst firing. You can see I let go of the trigger for like millisecond, then I get back on it, and I just continually repeat that process. You can see that it doesn't really slow down the rate of fire in a very noticeable way. This next tip is 100% geared towards console players because we have aim assist. So a lot of times when you play, you're going to want to maximize that aim assist so you can stay as accurate as possible. So what I'm going to do is basically show you how the aim assist works and kind of talk you through how you can maximize this process when you're actually playing the game. Typically when you play Call of Duty, you're going to get 2 forms of aim assist. One is what's called rotational aim assist, and the other one is aim down sight slowdown. So you can see right now nothing's happening. I'm not moving. On the top screen, I want you to focus on. Now as soon as I strafe, you're going to end up seeing the crosshair kind of stick, and my character is going to kind of rotate towards them. The closer you are, the stronger this is. The further you are away, the weaker it is. And things similarly happen when you actually change weapon types. Typically SMGs will have that shorter aim assist. LMGs will have a little bit further aim assist. So to make sure you're activating that aim assist, you're going to want to make sure you're moving your left analog stick and literally strafing as you get into the gunfights. See right here, now I'm not doing the strafing, but you experience the slowdown. You got to do a combination of those. Obviously, you got to aim down sights, and then when you strafe, it'll allow you to get that sticky aim where they're actually rotating you onto the target so it can be as accurate as possible. And on top of that, you make yourself a harder target to hit when you're strafing because you're moving a little bit to the side, and then someone doesn't know really how to aim that well, they're going to have trouble tracking you. The next tip is all related to finding that best sensitivity, and that's the best sensitivity for you. Not for your friend, not for me, it's specifically for you. So you got to find that sensitivity that fits your needs. I know a lot of times my subscribers will ask, general viewers will ask while I'm live streaming. I've seen other YouTubers get asked what's their sensitivity because people want to mirror that. You do not want to get in the habit of trying to mirror someone else's sensitivity because it generally will not work for you. You have to find the perfect sensitivity for you, and I'm actually going to show you the easiest way to do this. So typically what you would do in any Call of Duty is go to the SMG category, put on a laser sight so you can actually tighten up that hipfire spread. In this particular game, I ended up going with the Cordite, putting that operator mod so I get unlimited ammo, and pretty much you're going to play with your sensitivity without aiming down sight at all. The key is to get the best control of your hipfire sensitivity because that's where the sensitivity really comes into play, is how quick you can snap on a target, aim down sight, and pull that trigger to put them down and get that kill. So in this first part of the clip, what you're going to see is I'm actually using a sensitivity I'm very comfortable with. You can see that I'm not aiming down sight at all. I'm just focusing on the hip fire, seeing how accurate I can be with the hip fire. And since this is my general sensitivity that I found in the past when I tried out the beta, and then also when I've already tried this in private matches, this is the one that I'm going to be sticking with. And I'm going to show you kind of how it looks when my sensitivity is too high, and then also when it's too low, and you eventually find that happy number that works perfectly for you. So at this point, you can see that I'm adjusting my sensitivity. I started with the 5, and I'm going to move it all the way up to 12, which I know is way too high for me. I'm still going to run around the map, and you can see I lose a little bit of control of it because I'm not very used to this. The sensitivity is just too high for me. Obviously, I can get kills, but I'm playing against recruit bots. When you play against regular people, you're going to need to snap on targets a lot quicker than I'm doing. You can see I lose a little bit of control. It goes a little bit wild, goes a little bit too high in the sky, a little bit too low. When I go ahead and shoot, I'm a little bit missing. So you can see I end up running to a wall almost. So this is too high of a sensitivity for me. And obviously there is such thing as too low as well. So when I switch that lower sensitivity, what you'll notice, it's very hard for me to track targets. They're able to move faster than I can actually move my crosshairs. So you put yourself at a significant disadvantage if your sensitivity is too low from where it needs to be. So we're at the point where we only got a couple more tips left. So if you are enjoying the video, remember to hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. The next tip that I'm going to be focusing on is centering. And like I said, this is one that I think a lot of people struggle with because they're not even aware that they should be doing it. So typically the part that most people struggle with when centering is their crosshairs are looking at the floor or they're looking at the ceiling. You can see as I walked into the doorway, I was literally aiming at where I thought I'd be aiming at. And then even when this guy came in the doorway, I kind of had my crosshairs where I thought the person would be. And when a new game comes out, this is typically a little harder to adjust because you're not sure how the flow of the map works. But as time goes on, you should already be predicting kind of where people are going to be. And then what you'll do is place your crosshairs at doorways right at the center of a doorway as you come through a window, specifically looking at where kind of people are going to be. And what will tend to happen over time is you'll need to make a slight adjustment to actually aim on the target. Or you'll have to make no adjustment at all, and you'll be perfectly lined up where you think the person is going to be. And these fractions of milliseconds all add up to saving you time, so you can end up killing the enemy before they even shoot you. Because by the time they aim down sight, you could have already put 3 bullets in the chest, puts you at a huge advantage as far as the gameplay goes. So you can see right here, kind of my crosshairs are kind of in the middle of the walkway, and by the time I already aim down sight, I'm already perfectly on target, so I win those gunfights 9 times out of 10, unless the person's just amazing reflexes and they can outgun you. This is definitely one of those things that you have to do consciously, making sure that you're focused on specific doorways, different entrance areas, that your crosshairs are pretty much center mass, that you're not looking at the floor that often. When you're coming around corners, you're kind of predicting where people are going to be. And all these things stack up with all the other tips so that you can make sure that you have the best accuracy possible. So I've already given you 4 tips. We're going to move on to the 5th one. And I've already kind of touched on this one, but I want to make sure I emphasize specifically how you need to set this up so you can actually get the best practice possible. So when you load into the game, what you're going to want to do is go to multiplayer, go to a private match, and then you can set it up in free-for-all. Make sure that you have a certain number of bots, whatever you're comfortable with, and also pick a map that you're very comfortable with so you can actually make sure you're focusing on one thing and one thing only, and that is accuracy. I obviously didn't just think of this method all on my own, so I did want to give credit where credit is due when it comes to practice. The first place I ever saw this was TheXclusiveAce, which is another YouTuber. And if you're not familiar with his channel, he does amazing content, amazing breakdowns, and give a bunch of analytical stuff and how mechanics work in the game. If you've never checked him out, definitely go check him out. Let me go ahead and reference something I said earlier in the video, and that is consciously practice. And what that specifically means is you go into practicing with a specific purpose in mind. Do not make the mistake of just loading up a private match, just setting it up with bots, running around wildly and just trying to get kills, because at the end of the day, that is not conscious practice. That's just going through the motions. So what I mean with conscious practice is maybe you load into a match, you set up your ideal loadout with your weapons and all that good stuff, and you see how many kills you can get without reloading, how many kills you can get without picking up a scavenger pack, how many kills can you get without picking up a crash bag. At the end of the day, you want to see how many kills you can get and work on that proficiency. Also see how quick you can get it done. Can you just snap onto targets? Are you feeling more comfortable? Just focus on making sure you land every shot. Since you're going to be playing with recruit bots, you got a lot of leeway to make sure that you're landing as many shots as possible and you're just not wasting bullets. This also gives you a good chance to practice that recoil control, as well as predictive recoil, burst firing, and many of the other tips I gave throughout the video. You can focus on whatever you think you're struggling with. Then over time, all these things will improve. You can maybe even increase the difficulty of bots if you want to go to that length. But at the end of the day, you're just going to become a more accurate player. And I would almost guarantee that if you maximized all these areas, you would be the most accurate player you've been in Call of Duty. So let me know down in the comment section below, what was your favorite tip? Was it adjusting for recoil, maximizing aim assist, finding that right sensitivity, centering, or just practice for consistency? What was your favorite? Let me know down in the comment section below. I do appreciate you hanging out, checking out the video. Hopefully you enjoyed the video or found at least one of the tips helpful. If you did, remember to hit that like button. If you're brand new to the channel, make sure you subscribe. Turn notifications on so you can stay up to date with my future content. Appreciate all the support. Thank you for watching, and as always, have a great day.